Hello, welcome to lesson 10 of 10 Academy. So today we're going to take a look at vocabulary and intonation, but this time the lesson's a little bit different. When we look at the questions, we will also have some statements, regular sentences. So one thing to keep in mind when saying a sentence or a question in English, there is different intonation. And when it comes to statements, words are emphasized that are important, such as nouns, verbs, adjectives, that really provide the meaning for the sentence. But words that are not very necessary, just kind of filler words or articles, we don't really give a lot of emphasis to this. We pronounce them kind of quick and fast. For example, let's go to our first page here. We'll use our two vocabulary words, I and ice. So let's do our first sentence here with the word I. So really pay attention to the intonation in this sentence. I don't know the meaning of I. I don't know the meaning of I. So notice I and don't are really fast. The and of are faster, but we emphasize know, meaning, and I. Now, let's look at our question after this. Do you remember what kind of question this is? Is it an open-ended question or a yes or no question? For example, it starts with the word would. Would you mind explaining it to me? So this is a yes or no question. The answer is yes or no. So therefore, we go up at the end. So let's say both of them together. I don't know the meaning of I. Would you mind explaining it to me? So there's a good example of intonation for a sentence and for the yes or no question. So now let's look at our sentence in the second part here on the slide. We'll use again our vocabulary words. We have I and ice. So let's do our first one here, I and ice. And you will be using these sentences and questions in this lesson to ask the meaning or the definition of the vocabulary words. So the same thing applies here. We give emphasis to the words that are important, such as the nouns, the verbs, adjectives, or adverbs. And notice how we also kind of go down at the end of each of these sentences, but we give emphasis at the same time, especially to our vocabulary word in part A. For example, I know the meaning of I, but I don't know what ice means. So notice how we're really emphasizing the vocabulary words because we want them to be understood and clear. I know the meaning of I, but I don't know what ice means. So there's a good example of how to do the intonation, putting emphasis also on the most important words in the sentence. So now let's take a look at our vocabulary and definitions. Okay, so let's take a look at our first page. Our first word, I. So this is our I right here, what we use to see. That's our I. Next word, ice. Ice. This is frozen water. Water when it freezes. For example, in summertime, when it's hot, we put ice in our drink to keep it cold. That's ice. Idea. This is a noun. And similar to the word thought, it's something that happens in our brain. That's a thought. So if we have an idea, it's kind of like a little light bulb goes off in our brain. Some new thought that we have to do something. Iron. This is a metal, a very hard metal that can be used to build buildings, or sometimes even maybe a bed, an iron bed. It means it's metal. You might even think of the famous Iron Man. So it's because his suit is made out of metal and he's strong. Next word, item. This is similar to the word thing. So if we go to the grocery store, we buy 5 items. It could be many different things. It could be milk, butter, meat, cheese, anything. Each one is called an item. Next word, ivy. Ivy. This is a plant, and usually this kind of plant will grow up a building like a house. It grows on the side and it likes to climb. Also, there is poison ivy. It's a plant that if you touch it, you get a rash and it gets real itchy. That's poison ivy. So that's a plant. Arrive. This is a noun, and it means to get to a certain place. For example, please arrive to the party early. So get to the party before it starts. Arrive, you get to a place. Assign. This is also a verb. Assign. This is when you give someone a specific job or assignment. That's another, it comes from this word. For example, the teacher assigns the students their homework. So she gives them a specific job to do. Assign. Kind. One definition is similar to the word nice. The way that someone acts. That person is very kind. It means maybe they do nice things and they're very helpful. Also, this word can mean a variety of things. For example, what kind of animal is that? So similar to the word type. What kind of animal? Is it a cat, a dog, a bird? So you want to know what specific kind. Also, you can think of what kind of food do you like? Do you like pizza? Do you like tacos? Do you like hamburgers? So kind is describing one specific out of many different things. Kite. This is a toy, maybe for children, but maybe for adults. It's a piece of fabric, and then there's a long string, and you throw it in the air when there's lots of wind blowing, and it keeps it high up in the air. So fly a kite. The children like to fly a kite. Next one, knife. Knife. This is what we use specifically in the kitchen, maybe to cut vegetables or to cut meat, or even as we eat our lunch or dinner, we use a knife to eat. So it's generally used to cut. Light. This is one definition, is a noun, and brings light into the room. For example, up there is a light on the ceiling. When we go into a room, we turn on the light. Also, it's the opposite of dark. Light and dark are opposite. We can also use it as a verb. He lights the room. So it means he brings light into the room. So there's many different ways to use this word. Might. This is, in one definition, similar to the word maybe. For example, a mother might tell her child, we might get ice cream today. So similar to maybe. Maybe we'll get ice cream. Also, it is similar to the word strength, when someone is very strong. The man has a lot of might, means he has a lot of strength. Mind. This is up here. Similar to the brain. You could say this is your mind, what you use to think. Nice. This is similar, like we talked about before, kind. Nice, when someone does caring things for you, maybe giving you a gift or says nice words, you can maybe say that they are a nice person. 9. This is a number, like 8, 9, 10. So that's a number. And the last one, pilot. This is a noun, and it is a job that a person has. So a pilot is someone who flies an airplane or a helicopter, anything that goes in the air. That is a pilot. So the person who flies the plane. Polite. This is when someone uses words like please, thank you, they're very kind. That is a polite person. So this is an adjective. For example, parents teach their children to be polite. Prize. This is something you win, maybe after a game or a race, or maybe children in school, when they do something good, they get a prize or a reward, maybe ice cream, candy, or you can get a trophy that you put on your shelf. So there's many different kinds of prizes. This is after you win or do something good. Quiet. It's like, shh, please be quiet. So it means not to make noise. Or if a person doesn't like to talk very much, they're very shy, they might be called a quiet person. They don't make a lot of noise. Remind. This is when something that helps you to remember something from the past. For example, this music reminds me of when I was a child. So it helps you remember another time. Also, you can ask someone, can you please remind me to take out the garbage? So you're asking someone to help you remember. Buy. This is an action. This is when we go to the store and you give money to buy something. For example, you go to the grocery store and you give money and then you take home your groceries. So you use money. That's buy. Spy. This one way you can use it as a noun, and it refers to a person that is looking for information but doesn't reveal who they really are. For example, there could be a spy from another country that tries to learn information. For example, many movies, there's a Russian spy. So someone who is looking for information, pretending to be someone else. Also, this can be an action when you are looking for information from someone else. For example, if there's two children in the house and one is looking in the bedroom of the other child, they say, don't spy on me. Don't be looking at what I'm doing. It's secret. So that's a verb also. The same for the word tie. We have a noun and a verb, an action. So the noun is something that a man wears around his neck. And maybe he wears it with a suit. He wears it to work, for business, or to a wedding. He wears a tie. The verb is when you put something together, you tie it. For example, your shoes. You tie your shoes. Or also you tie a tie. You have to tie it. That's the verb. Slide. Also a noun and a verb. So the noun is when, for example, at a park where children like to go play, there is a slide. So they climb up the steps and then they go down. That's a sliding board or a slide. And the action to go down, that's called slide. The children like to slide down the sliding board. So a noun and a verb. Why? This is what we use as a question. The reason for doing something. So why are you going to the store? I'm going to the store to buy milk. So you're asking the reason for doing something. Why? Fine. This is used as an adjective to describe maybe how we're feeling. If we're feeling okay, not bad, not good, in the middle. Fine. So how are you today? I am fine. Cry. This is an action, a verb, and it means when someone has tears coming down. For example, a baby. A baby cries a lot. So that's cry, when there's tears and they're sad. Or sometimes happy also. Dry. This is the opposite of wet. So wet is when something has a lot of water. Dry is the opposite. For example, if you have a plant, a flower, a plant, you have to put water when the plant is dry. Also, maybe your skin in winter time, your skin is very dry, so you put on lotion so it's not dry. Fly. This can be used as a verb. For example, earlier we talked about an airplane. The pilot flies the airplane. Fly. Or a bird. Birds fly in the air. Our next one, fry. This is what you do when you're cooking. When you put food in very hot oil. For example, maybe fish. You fry fish. Or you fry potatoes to make French fries. So that's the action, fry. Guy. This is another name for a man. Instead of saying he is a man, he is a guy. They both work together. High. So this can refer to distance. For example, the building is very high. So it goes up very much, high. Also, it can refer when maybe temperature, the oven, the temperature of the oven is very high. It means it's hot. July. This is a month of the year. For example, next month is going to be July. For example, you have April, May, June, July, August. Pie. This is something you eat. For example, you can have apple pie or strawberry pie. Also, they use this word to describe a pizza sometimes. A pizza pie because it's round. Round. Reply. This is a verb. It can be used as a verb. For example, can you reply to my email? So it means, can you give answers to what I have asked you? Can you reply to the email, please? Shy. This is when a person doesn't like to talk a lot with other people. They like to be more by themselves. Similar to the word timid. So the little boy is very shy. Maybe he hides behind his mother because he doesn't want to talk to other people. Shy. The last one, sigh. This is an action. For example, that's a sigh. Last one, sky. This is what is up. It's blue during the day, and at nighttime, there's stars in the sky. So it's what we see when we look up. Our next one here, we have two different pronunciations. So the first one, bow, bow. This can be a noun or a verb, and it's when a person, after they do something, they take a bow, a bow. So you bend over. So maybe after play on the stage, you take a bow. So that's the noun. You take a bow. And then the verb would be, he bows to the audience. So that's the action. Our next one is bow. One definition of this is when you have an arrow and you shoot the arrow using the bow. So the bow is what you pull back and then you let go. Also, it's when maybe you put a bow in your hair. So it's like a ribbon and you tie it and you put it in your hair. Or on a present or gift that you give someone, you tie a bow on top. It's very pretty. Our next one, cloud. This is what's in the sky. We just talked about the word sky. So sometimes if there's not a lot of sun, it's because there's clouds, so big white balls. Rain comes from the clouds in the sky. Couch. This is similar to the word sofa. It's what we have in our living room, and we sit on it when we watch TV. It's very comfortable. Next one, cow. This is an animal, and it usually is on a farm. They have many cows. We get milk from cows, and also we get meat from cows. Crowd. This is a large group of people when there's lots of people. For example, if you go to see a game, a soccer game or football game, there's a large crowd at the game, lots of people. Doubt. This is a verb, an action, and it means that you're not very sure or certain about something. For example, I doubt that it's going to rain tomorrow. So you don't believe it's going to happen. You doubt it. Eyebrow. This is an eyebrow right here. So it's above our eye, eyebrow. Flower. This is something that grows outside. For example, a rose or a tulip. There's many kinds of flowers. And for example, a husband will buy flowers for his wife. So he'll bring her flowers that she can have at home. So here, our next word, we can pronounce two different ways. Our first one is house. This is what we live in. We live in our house. So it has a bedroom, a kitchen, a living room, bathroom. That is a house. The next one with the verb is the Z, house, house. That means when you have someone to your house, maybe to stay overnight. So I will house our guests for the next 2 nights. So you have friends or guests that will stay at your house. So the action is called house. Next one, loud. This is when a sound or something that we hear is very high. So maybe you would say, turn down the music. It's very loud. So it's very strong sound that we hear. Mouse. This is an animal and it's very tiny, maybe, and sometimes it comes in your house. Many people think it likes to eat cheese. So it's real tiny and it has a long tail. Also, this is called a mouse. We use it for our computer. This is called a mouse. Mouth. This is our mouth right here. Mouth. Now. This means at the present, the time that is right now. So we have past, present is also now, and then future. So what are you doing now? I am teaching now. So it means what is happening at this very moment. Powder. This is something that's very fine, and even that if you throw it, the wind will take it. It's very fine. For example, baby powder. So it's in a bottle, and you sprinkle it for babies. Maybe after they take a bath, you put on baby powder. Or some women put powder on their face. They powder their face, and that means to absorb the oil. 1,000. This is a number, and it's after the hundreds. So, for example, 1,000. 1, 0, 0, 0. So 3 zeros. 1,000. Shout. This is an action, and it means when you yell very loud. Hey! That's shout, when it's a loud noise, maybe to get someone's attention. South. This is a direction. So we have north, south, west, east. So it's used as a direction to know which way to go. Allow. This is similar to the word permit. So, for example, a mother allows her child to go play outside. So she lets him, she permits him, she allows him. So he says, Mom, can I play outside? Yes, I allow you to play outside. Towel. This is what we use to dry things when they're wet. For example, in the kitchen, when we have to dry dishes, we use a towel. Or when we get out of the shower or the bath, we use a towel to dry ourselves off. Vowel. You probably know what this is. So in English, A, E, I, O, U. Those are our vowels. Amount. This is similar to a quantity, a number. So what is the amount of the bill? So maybe you go to dinner, out to eat, and you want to know how much to pay. What is the amount of the bill? Bounce. This is an action, and it means to go up and down. Bounce. So maybe little kids like to bounce or jump. They like to go up and down. Brown. This is a color, and it can be many different kinds of shades. For example, this is brown. So it's not black, it's a little bit lighter. Brown. Clown. This is something, a person that tries to make children or adults laugh. Maybe they have a big nose, big hair, and they paint their face and they try to be funny to make other people laugh. Count. So this is an action, and it's what we do with numbers. So I will count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's count. So you're using numbers. Down. This is a direction. For example, up, down. So we can use it when we describe maybe in our house. I have to go down the steps to go to the kitchen. So down, up. Downtown. This refers to the center of a town or a city. So maybe where there's lots of businesses, lots of big buildings. So I want to go downtown to the movie theater. So it means you're going to the center of the city. Drown. This is a verb in action, and it's when something is under the water and can't breathe. For example, little children have to be careful in the pool, in the swimming pool, so they don't drown. So they have to learn how to swim so they don't go under the water and they can't breathe. Drown. Found. This is the past tense of the word find. So it means when you're looking for something and then you know where it's at, you find it. So the past tense is found. So today, I find my keys. They were lost. You didn't know where they were. Yesterday, I found my keys. Frown. This is a noun. It's what we do with our mouth. Frown. It can also be a verb. I frown. So a noun and a verb. Gown. This is a really pretty dress. For example, a wedding gown. So it's a very pretty dress, and it's usually big. It has a long skirt, and it's used for special occasions. A ball gown. This is for when someone goes to dance at a very special event. Ground. This is outside, similar to dirt or soil. So when we have a garden, there's ground. So it means like the dirt or the soil. Noun. This is an object, something that we can hold, or it can be a person, a place, or a thing. For example, this is a pen. A pen is a noun, not a verb, an action, a noun, an object. Playground. This is where children go to play. Usually every town has a playground. There's swings and slides, and maybe they can play basketball, and there's different courts. This is a playground. Pound. This is a unit of measurement for how heavy something is, how much it weighs. If you go shopping for vegetables, maybe you get a pound of tomatoes. So it's a bag and it's a pound, or a pound of chicken. Also, we use pound for how much we weigh. Round. This is something like that, like a circle. So this, for example, this is round. It's a circle. Or the earth where we live, the earth is round. It's a circle. Sound. This is something that we hear with our ears. For example, I hear a sound of an ambulance. So you hear the ambulance driving by. Sound, something we hear. Town, this is smaller than a city. So a city is very big, lots of people, lots of buildings. A town is a little bit smaller. Some people, some houses, some buildings, not very big. Appointment. This is when we have to do something at a specific time. For example, I call the office for an interview and I make an appointment for 10 o'clock. So you have a specific time that you have to be there for your interview. You have a 10 o'clock appointment. Annoy. This is a verb, and it means when something bothers you, doesn't make you feel good, you don't like it, it annoys you. For example, that man really annoys me because he talks very loud. So we don't like to be around him because he annoys us. Avoid. This is also an action, a verb, and this means when, for example, two people don't want to be in the same place. They don't want to spend time with each other. So the two children avoid each other at school. So they don't sit next to each other. They don't play together. They do everything apart. They avoid each other. Boil. This is one thing that happens with water. If you want to make pasta, you have to boil water. So it has to be very hot and there's bubbles that come out. That's boil. Boy. This is the opposite of girl. So you have man, woman, boy, girl. So they're little, they're younger. Broil. This is an action. This is what you do in the oven when you're cooking. You put something in the oven and then on top, it's very hot and then it cooks the top. That's called broil. Maybe if something has cheese on it, it makes the cheese dark and crunchy. That's broil. Choice. This is when you have a decision to make and there's different options. So I have lots of choices of what to eat for dinner. So you could have pizza, you could have pasta, you could have fish, you could have hamburgers. So those are all your choices, what you have to decide. Coin. This is a kind of money and it's small and round. So maybe a quarter, a penny, a dime, a nickel. These are all types of money and they're round. They're round. That's a coin. Deploy. This is an action, a verb. And it means to, for example, many times it's with military. If someone is part of the army or the military, they deploy them to a different country, maybe a different station where they have to work. So it means to send them to a different place for their job or work, generally with the military. Our last one here, employ. This is also an action or a verb. And it means to give someone a job, a work. So I employ 5 people. It means that I give 5 people work or a job. Employee. This is when we work for someone else. So I am an employee of TEN Academy. So I work for TEN Academy. Enjoy. This is when you like to do something. I really enjoy reading a book. So you like to do it. It makes you happy. Join. This is an action or a verb, and it's when you are part of something else. For example, I join a gym. So it means that I'm going to be part of the gym, like be a member of the gym. So maybe you have a card that says that you joined the gym. Joy. This is when we feel happy. It's very similar to the word happiness. The little puppy brings me joy. So it makes me happy. Lawyer. We talked about a word before, attorney. So lawyer, attorney, same position, same job. So this is someone that helps you when you have legal issues. Like if the police arrest you, you call your lawyer for help. Loyal, this is when you really stick to something or you stay with a person or a thing. For example, many times they say that dogs are loyal pets. So they really like to be with their owner, maybe, or children. They're very loyal. They like to stay with them and not run away or give up. Moist. This is similar, we talked about before, dry, when something doesn't have a lot of water. Moist is when it does, similar to wet, moist and wet. So maybe when you are really hot and you're sweating, your shirt gets moist, it gets wet. Also, it can be referred to as food. Like a cake is very good when it's moist and not when it's dry and crumbly. Noise, that's something that we hear. I hear a loud noise outside. So it's something that we hear and similar to the word sound. Oyster, this is something that lives in the ocean and it has a really hard shell, and then you open it and you eat what's inside. That's the oyster. Also, an oyster makes a pearl, a round pearl, like for a pearl necklace. It comes from the oyster. Point, it's an action or a verb, and we do it with our finger. I point at you, so point, that's the action. Poison, this is something that is not good for our body. It can be a noun or a verb. Maybe if we have mice or rats in the house, we use poison to kill the rats. Or if it can mean that you also, the verb or the action, I poison the rats or mice. It means like you kill them by using poison. Royal, this describes like a kingdom, like a king, a queen, a prince, a princess. Those are all royal. It seems something that's very high and elaborate. Soil, this is what we use to plant, maybe a garden or flowers, similar to the word ground or dirt that we learned earlier. So if you have a flower, you put it in a pot, you put soil in the pot, and then you put the flower in the pot and it grows. So that's dirt or ground or soil. Soy, this is a plant and it's something that we use to make different kinds of food. For example, soy sauce, we use this maybe in cooking, or soy milk. We get the type of milk from the plant. So soy is the type of plant. Spoil, this is an action or a verb, and it means to, for example, a child, give them everything that they want. We never say no. So the parents really spoil their children by giving them all the toys they want. So spoil, you give them everything. Toilet, maybe you know this word. This is what we use to go to the bathroom. In our bathroom, there is a toilet, usually white. Toy, this is what children play with. And there could be many different things. A teddy bear, games, blocks, everything that children play with is called a toy. Voice, this is what we hear. This is a noun. So right now you are listening to my voice. You hear me. You hear what I'm saying. Some people have a high voice, high, or low, low, deep voice. Void. This is similar to the word delete or eliminate, get rid of. Many times we use this word with a check. So it's a piece of paper, a check, and you write on it, maybe for the amount of money, $100. But the check is bad. So you void the check. You eliminate it. You delete it. So it does not, you cannot use it anymore. So very similar to the word delete. And we use it for a check that we write for money. Voyage. This is similar to a trip when you travel to a different place, but a very long distance. Usually it's related to a boat when you go traveling on a boat. So we are going on a voyage across the United States, or we are going on a voyage to the other part of the earth. So very, very far. Maybe dealing with going over water, not on a plane. A plane is very fast, so it has to be a long trip. Your. This is something that you possess. So mine, yours. What is your name? How are your parents? So it belongs to you. Yolk, yolk. This is a part of an egg, and it's the yellow part of the egg. So an egg comes from a chicken, and maybe we eat it for breakfast, and it has a yellow part in the middle. That's called the yolk. Yard. This is similar to a patio. So it's outside of our house, and there's grass, maybe flowers where the children like to play. That's called a yard. So where there's grass and trees, and you own it. It's part of your property of your house. That is your yard. Yarn. This is what you use to knit. Knit. So you have two long sticks, and then you have yarn is the string. And you knit maybe for a hat or a scarf. So yarn is like the string, and you have many different colors and many different sizes. Yesterday, so it means what happened before. So today, yesterday, tomorrow. So yesterday happened in the past. Canyon. This is when you have two mountains, really steep mountains, and in the middle is the canyon. So mountains, and then in the middle is the canyon. The Grand Canyon, that's in the United States. Many people like to see that. Yell. This is very similar to the word shout that we talked about before. So yell, hey, hey, that's yell. It's very loud, and maybe you have to hear it far away. So you speak very loudly, yell. Young. This is the opposite of old. So maybe 15, 18, 20, 21. This is young. So it's describing their age, how old someone is. When you're in your 80s, not young, that's old. Yogurt. This is something we eat. It's made from milk, and we might eat it for breakfast with fruit, with granola, and it's very tasty, yogurt. Yourself. This is describing you. When, for example, you should buy yourself a car. So you're talking about you, me, yourself. You should buy, or you should get yourself a new house. So it's for you, or for you, I should say, for you. Yes. This is the opposite of no. So it's how you answer a question. Yes or no. So yes, no. Backyard. So before we talked about the word yard, it's where our house is, and there's grass, and you could play and sit outside. That's your yard. If it's behind your house, so you have your house, behind your house, it's called a backyard, because it's behind the house, backyard. Youth. This is similar to the word young, but this is a noun, youth. I really enjoyed when I was a youth. So I liked it when I was young, when I was maybe a teenager. Youth. Yellow. This is a color, and for example, the sun is yellow. It's very bright colors. Or sunflowers are yellow, very bright. Year. So year is when you have 12 months. So it also refers to how old we are. So what year is it? It is 2020. How old are you? 25 years old. So that's how we use to count time. You, pretty similar. Me, you. So we use it as a pronoun. Beyond. This is when something is past its limits. So here's your limits. I go beyond. So you go past. It could also be something that we understand. So English is beyond my understanding. So it means you can't get it. You can't understand. It's past, beyond. YouTube. Probably many of you know this. It's on the internet and it's where you can watch different videos. YouTube. Value. This is how much something is worth. So what is the value of your car? So how much money is your car worth? How much money? Million. This is after 1,000. So we have 100, 1,000, million. So 1 million has 6 zeros. 6 zeros. 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Huge. This is referring to a size. It's very large. That is a huge pizza. So it means very big, big size pizza. Junior. This is usually referred to a child that maybe has the same name as his father. So you could say Ed Dunn is the father. Ed Dunn Jr. is the son. The son. Computer. This is what I'm working on right now. It has a screen and then you can type. You can look for information, talk to people. That is a computer. Union. This is when two things are very close together. For example, a husband and a wife are in union. So it means they're close. They understand each other. Maybe they think similar and they are always together. They are in union. Opinion. This is something that you think in your mind. What is your idea? So what are your thoughts? Opinion. So there are many different opinions. For example, there are many different opinions in the government, different ideas. Everyone has different thoughts. Human, that's what we are. So you have human, and then you have animal. So human is like people. Community. This is when you have a group of people. Maybe they live in the same area. The community where I live is very peaceful and quiet. So it means all the people in the area where I live. Or you could say maybe for a specific reason, if someone is sick with cancer, they have a great community to help them. So it means the people that are around them to support them and help them. Cute. This is a very common word we use to describe when we really like how something looks. For example, a baby is very cute. A puppy is very cute. So we like to look at them and they make us feel good. Humor. This is describing someone who thinks things are very funny and they can laugh a lot. He has a good sense of humor. So it means that he really likes to laugh and he enjoys it. Onion. This is something we use for cooking and we eat it. It's round and we slice it, maybe to cook, or we dice it. And sometimes it makes us cry because the smell is so strong. Onion. Curious. This is when someone is very inquisitive. They want some more information. So, I'm curious. How old are you? Or, I'm curious. What do you do for work? So you want information. You're really thinking and you want to know. Menu. This is at a restaurant. When you go to order, they give you a menu and you open it up. Chicken, beef, salad, and it says what you can order and how much it is. That's a menu. Uniform. This is our clothing, and it's the same thing that we wear. For example, for work, you may have to wear a uniform, maybe a white shirt, black pants, every day, the same thing. Or children go to school. They wear a uniform to school, the same clothing every day, and they all look the same. Music, this is what we listen to, maybe on the radio, or we play music with a guitar, a piano. So it's a combination of different instruments or singing that we can listen to. Unit, there are many definitions for this word. Mainly, it's referring to one. I would like to rent 1 unit in the building. So it means 1 apartment in the building. Also, it can mean when different people come together for one thing, one reason. So I recommend you look up this word. There's many definitions. View. This is something that we see with our eyes. And it can be a verb. I view the mountains. So it means you're looking at the mountains. Or you can use it as a noun. That is a beautiful view of the mountains. That is a beautiful view of the ocean. So it's everything that we're seeing with our eyes. Usual. This is something that's very common, not very different. For example, something that happens in our routine every day. That the coffee shop is his usual morning stop on his way to work. So every day he goes there. It's not different. Figure. One definition is describing a shape. For example, a circle, a square. Those are different shapes or figures. Or it can be even just a round shape, describing like a person. I see a figure. Maybe it means like a shadow. You can see a different shape. Congratulations, we made it to the end. That was a lot of vocabulary. I hope it was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.